Alright, boys and girls, we've got a JJRC review going on here. We've got the H8C, which is not flying right now, and the H5C, which is flying, and you can see a review online for that on our channel. I guess we'll start off with this guy. We just received this one. In packaging, it came really messed up. Blades were all banged up. The material they used for the body, I guess it'll probably take impacts pretty nice, but it's pretty wibbly wobbly, and the form must have been out, or just, I don't know, something's weird about it. It's not very uniform. It flies like crap. I can't suggest this as a copter. It has return to home, which does not work. It also has headless mode, so no matter which way you're turned, it'll, forwards, forward, backwards, backwards, left and right. When you're going slowly and, not really putting it through too much strain, it works okay. If you were to be doing anything fancy with it, it works like crap. Battery time, horrible. Eats batteries like no tomorrow. Probably about 2, 3, 4 minute flight time if you're, not pushing it really up to a huge rate of throttle power to maintain hover. Yeah, it's just really not a good copter at all. I'm just really disappointed with this as a whole. Don't buy it. It's bad. So the H5C, don't ever buy this copter. The controller here, pretty standard for a toy model. It's got its 2 different modes, low and high. Flip button over here, so you press hold, push whichever direction you want to flip, and it'll do so. Its flips are nice. I give it that. Good flips. Woo. You got photo, video for recording with the camera that's installed on it. This is your headless mode, and this is your return to home. Once again, like I said, headless is pretty useless, and return to home is absolutely useless. So once again, as I said, if you want to get something, get the SEMA. The SEMA, which this is the clone of, is 10 times the copter you get for this. You don't need the headless mode, you don't need the return to home on something like this. So don't, just because it says it has it, don't get it. So we'll bring in the H8C. This thing, when I got it, fantastically flying quad. I can't really complain about it. When I first got it, it was very good. The range was not what they stated, but as you can see, what happens is when I took it apart, when it first broke down, basically, the problem with this one is the motors. The motors, I found out, are not actual 7.4 volt motors, which is what the battery is, and it's what it's actually putting out. It's putting out at least 7 volts. The motors in here are actually about 5 volt motors, so it's overpowering them and burning them out a little bit that way. Also, right here and then also on the other side of this plastic gear are just metal bushings instead of bearings, so you get a bit of resistance and also heat buildup from that, which burns out these engines a little bit quicker. Speed, maneuverability, performance, fantastic. It flips like shit, but I don't like doing flips and stuff like that, so it's a good quad for me. Biggest complaint, motors. Motors. They didn't think this out. They tried to make it better than the SEMA X5C, which they did in every way except for the motors. So getting away from that, I guess, we'll go back to what I was saying here. Once I actually opened it up to replace motors the first time, I noticed that this antenna here, that I just broke open these vent vanes in here and poked the antenna out relatively easily. It used to be, it used to be tucked up on top of the control board up here, where, like, if you're up in the sky and you're controlling down here, how is this transmitting to something that's up here? It was ridiculous. So very easy fix. That gave me probably about another 50 feet worth of flight distance. So that was very nice. And then, I guess over to the controller. really gamey, as you can see. It does fit nicely in your hand, so not too bad. Response through the gimbals to the quad, really well. Opposed to that, the response is not laggy, but it's very slow. This is very, very responsive, no matter which mode you're in, which has got 4 modes, 25 to 100. Fantastic quad for the flight capabilities of it. I did notice on mine, when I come down here and I go all the way down, there's a little place where it kind of clicks. I don't know if that's just a manufacturer defect or something that's always there. It does nothing. It's like not something that's supposed to click, but whatever. So this is your pictures up and down are your pictures and video on that, and that's your trim. These are your trim. Pretty good for that. Your flips are here. You press it once and you press the direction that you want to flip. It'll flip. It's very sloppy. It'll rotate, and then when it goes to correct, it'll kind of veer way out to the side. It doesn't just flip on a dime. You can also press this and hold it down, and then it'll give you continuous flips, so that all you got to do is hold forward and it'll just go wow, 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 which is kind of cool. You know, I've tested it out a couple times, and I don't know what you'd really use it for, because it puts you out of control pretty quick. But it's fun. You know, you can use it. It's fun. Go up to a good height for that one. But once again, for this controller, as you can see right here, I took the antenna and I bored just a small little hole, just big enough for this antenna to stick out, because where this one was positioned was down, pointing this way, in this handle all cramped up. So the mass majority of the transmission antenna was down there underneath my hand and pointing away from the quad. So I just rerouted it up here, pointing, you know, more or less towards the quad, and I'd say that probably gave me about another 50 feet worth of distance, up to about 300-ish feet, which is generally what they say in the box that you're supposed to get out of this copter. The LED lights all around the outside, I must say, that's fantastic. Way more visible on every account than this one, where it's just stuck up underneath. You can, you know, tilting away from you and banking around, you can really lose sight of this one directionally. This one, on the other hand, you know, you got blue in the front, white in the front, blue on the sides, and red in the back, and you can practically see that no matter what position this thing's in. Because they also do wrap all the way in on a quarter crescent in on those arms. Very, very visible quad. You can also turn those lights off, by the way. So like I say, if you don't mind doing a couple modifications, I would suggest bearings, maybe motors. This is a great quad, I will say, but the hassle I had to go through didn't make it that nice. The hassle we had to go through for that made it even worse. Don't shop Banggood. I will say it in every one of my videos if I have to. So yeah, also I'll put it out there, if you guys know of any 7.4 volt or even 7 volt motors that would fit in these copters, please let me know. I would love to find something that isn't the parts they supply for this, because if I could upgrade this, you know, I think I'd get a really cool toy out of it. But up until then, you know, it's not flying right now. It powers up, but one of the motors is dead, and I can't do anything about that. So this has been your tabletop review of JJRC. Mixed feelings. Can't say buy it, can't say don't buy it. Just, you know, when they say something's really fancy for a really cheap price, don't frickin' believe them. My buddy bought that and we're disappointed. It's crap. I knew it was crap the minute I saw it, and it is crap. This thing here, I've put this thing through hell and high water. I even made this a submarine at one point in time. It went right underwater in our pond. I lost her, and the lights were blinking and everything, and I brought it up. I switched out all the motors and I dried everything out, and then I switched out all the motors and got everything looking good. And I plugged it back in the next day, and off she goes, and it flew like nothing happened. And ever since, she's flown like nothing happened. But the motors die all the time. So buy a lot of motors, or modify it. Go ahead and modify these things. Like I say, so that's your JJRC review. This is once again Reckless Redneck RC. Like us, subscribe, comment, do any of the following, or do absolutely nothing at all. But till next time, hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, we'll see you around.